Bro, I didn't even think that Cool Kicks was scamming. Like people been saying that though. I'm not gonna lie, people been saying that. But I thought that like there was just superstitions or assumptions. You feel me? I ain't never actually thought they would because
There's
they too
something
big of a
strange.
store, too big of a store to scam. So I never thought they
For
would actually
almost a
scam.
year, something strange was happening inside the sneaker world. Federal agents were showing up everywhere.
12 people face federal charges now accused of stealing more than $2 million in Nike products from the company's North American Logistics Center right here in Memphis.
Federal prosecutors say this went on for at least 4 years, totaling
Damn.
nearly $2 million.
Was the other co-owner of Cool Kicks that was taken into custody by LAPD,
including 40-year-old Keith Cannon, who owned Valid Kicks.
So they actually like went to the warehouse where Nike had held the stuff and stole it from the warehouse. Well, that's crazy, bro.
Project Blitz, Cool Kicks, warehouses filled with thousands of sneakers, search warrants, evidence boxes, and phones being held outside storefronts trying to figure out what was happening. But nobody seemed to know the answer. There were plenty of rumors about counterfeit sneakers, money laundering, tax fraud, stuff like
Cause
that.
you gotta
But
make it make like at the same time, bro. They had a lot of shoes in that building, so either the shoes was fake or they was getting it some way legal. I mean, illegally. But I always thought that Nike just was like had them as a retailer, like sending them shoes like Foot Locker, uh, Champ. Well, is it Champs or Champion? I haven't been there in so long, bro. But I thought it was like an actual Nike retailer.
enforcement and the government stayed completely silent. No interviews, no detailed press conferences, just a series of raids that at the time seemed to be a little bit unrelated. That's how it looked from the outside looking in. While the sneaker community was trying to guess what happened, federal investigators were allegedly putting together a case that had been going for years. And according to a federal indictment that just got released this month, I think we have answers to everything we need to know.
Okay,
The story didn't begin with
let
Cool
me turn this up
Kicks
a
or
little bit.
Project
No, it's
Blitz
good.
or
It's
even
good. It's good.
California. It all began in a warehouse that was nearly 2,000 miles away. Nike's North American Logistics Center that was located in Memphis, Tennessee. Every single day, this building moves thousands of Nike products across the United States. If you've ever bought a pair of Jordans or Nike Dunks or anything of that nature, there's a good chance that it goes through this warehouse first. This is essentially the beating heart of Nike's entire supply chain. Products
stole from that
arrive
whole
in this
warehouse?
warehouse from around the world. They get sorted, packed, labeled, loaded into trucks, and then shipped to retailers across the country, like Foot Locker or Champs or wherever you buy your shoes from.
Hold on,
And on
wait.
paper, it's one of the most efficient Foot Locker or Champs or wherever you buy.
Bro. Now, back in the day, Champs and Finish Line used to be the go-to stores. Foot Locker too. Foot Locker was still still to this day a go-to store. But Finish Line, like when Foot Locker didn't have it, you go to Finish Line. Finish Line didn't have it, you go to Champs, right? But now you don't even touch those stores no more. Like those stores are like non-existent. Like I think Finish Line and Champs both closed down actually. Well, down here it did for us in Louisiana. Well, in Houma. I don't know about anywhere else, but we don't even use none of those stores no more. Foot Locker online. Uh, damn. Why would I want the name? I can't think of the name. What's the other one? Um, I don't know. Wait, let me see the Champs online still. I'm gonna see that after the video. But the one that you check your shoes on, bro, to see if they're legit or not. The one everybody was faking the tags for, but ordering the shoes off DH Gate. You tell me in the comments, you gonna know it. The one with the green tags, you gonna know it. But we all everybody order their shoes offline nowadays, bro. They don't even go in the store no more, unless it's like Neiman Marcus or something. So it's not the same like it was back in the day. And I really do miss the days when the mall used to be popping, like Black Friday sales, what they call Cyber Monday sales. Cyber Mondays, we still used to go in the store, even though it's supposed to be online sales. We still end up going to the store, and they still got deals in the store. Black Friday never gonna be the same again because the online traffic never gonna be the same. Black Friday should be the best days ever, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
And on paper, it's one of the most efficient logistics systems in the entire world. Every package has a barcode, every carton has a destination, and every movement is seemingly tracked. And every shipment has one small detail that tells the entire system where to go, and that's a shipping label. And according to federal prosecutors, that tiny piece of paper would allegedly become the key to one of the biggest sneaker theft conspiracies in recent history. And the more investigators looked into this case, the more they realized that it wasn't just a traditional cargo theft. Nobody was cutting locks or hijacking the trucks or breaking into the warehouse in the middle of the night. The operation allegedly relied on something a lot more simple, and that was the shipping process itself. Imagine you go online and order a pair of Jordans from Nike or the website. The order gets processed, Nike packs the shipment, and a shipping label is printed. And that label tells UPS exactly where the package belongs, as long as the label is correct. Now imagine somebody quietly replaces that label before the package ever leaves the building.
Nah.
The box is still scanned, and it still gets loaded into the truck, and UPS delivers it. But the only difference is the destination. And according to the indictment, this is what investigators believe exactly happened. So whenever there's a hype Jordan release, like let's just say, for example, the Jordan 4 Brick by Bricks, somebody in the warehouse would locate what boxes were filled with these sneakers that were going to be shipped out to Foot Locker or Champs or wherever. And when loading these up onto the UPS trucks to be shipped out to these stores, somebody would slap a label over the top of the one that was already on there. And this new UPS label would then ship it to a different location that wasn't the intended store. And this was addresses that investigators say had already been chosen by members of this conspiracy. And from that point on, the package would follow the new label. But changing the label was only half the job. And that's because a shipping label sitting on somebody's desk in Los Angeles can't move a single package inside the warehouse in Memphis. So
yeah, that's smart though. I mean, that's messed up, but that's smart. So they had somebody that already worked there walk around and just no, that's some wild stuff. I ain't gonna lie. But what you expect from,
somebody had to sneak those labels
Sneakerheads
inside. And according to federal prosecutors, this is where it became an inside job at the Nike warehouse. And court documents allege that one of these organizers was Roy Harvey Jr. And he has seemed to be one of the masterminds behind this whole operation. And like a year ago when Project Blitz got raided, it was because of Roy Harvey Jr. He had been seen delivering or using some of these packages around the Project Blitz warehouse, and that's what got him raided. But according to this indictment, investigators allege that he created these shipping labels and arranged the delivery locations and coordinated where those redirected shipments would ultimately end up. Because Harvey wasn't a Nike employee and he couldn't just walk into the warehouse. According to the prosecutors, somebody else on the inside was handling how the labels got on the packages. And the indictment identifies a man named Michael Perkins. He was a floor manager inside Nike's Memphis Logistics Center. And Perkins allegedly would smuggle these shipping labels inside of the Nike warehouse where he would give them to other Nike employees. And prosecutors allege that these employees would place the labels onto specific cartons before they entered Nike's normal shipping process. And like I previously said, nothing on these packages looked abnormal. The packages continued out of the warehouse just like they would on any other day. And that's what made this operation so hard to detect. And this wasn't something that happened just once or twice. Courts allege that between 2022 and 2024, 1,860 fraudulent shipping labels.
1,860, right? And let's just say, because it's a box of shoes per label, right? That's a lot of money, bro. That's a lot of damn money. Then
tied to Roy Harvey Jr. was operated successfully through this whole process. And just to mention, this isn't 1,800 pairs. This is 1,860 boxes that are filled with multiple pairs. Whenever a shoe comes out, sometimes a sneaker reseller will have an entire full-size run. They'll have hundreds or 200, 300 pairs of a shoe that's like just came out.
So imagine the bread 11s, right? Bread 11s come out. They like, let's say 200 a shoe. There's 300 pairs of shoes in a box, right? 300 pairs of shoes in a box. That's 60 bands, bro. Nigga up 60 bands from swapping the label. Bro, they be scamming nowadays, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Or also in the sneaker world, there's like
They definitely
early
got it.
pairs. You'll see people have multiple pairs of shoes before they come out, like months before they come out. But what happened after the shoes left Memphis was almost a little more surprising. And investigators didn't follow the shipping labels, they followed the shoes. And that's where this story takes kind of an unexpected turn. And you have to remember, all of this is happening in private. This was before they decided to raid anybody or make any sort of like public thing about this. So by this point, investigators believed that they understood how the shoes were leaving the warehouse. But that only answered half of the mystery, because stolen inventory doesn't just disappear. Somebody has to receive it, somebody has to pay for it, and eventually somebody has to sell it. So investigators started following these sneakers and shipments. Now, according to these court documents and stuff, it doesn't really say how they were able to identify this. Some people say that they put trackers like inside the shoes or inside the boxes.
I
Some
doubt it.
people said that they like went over their inventory lists, or I don't know how they did it. I wish I had this answer because that'd probably make this video a little bit more interesting, but I don't know how they tracked down these shoes from the Memphis warehouse to what I'm about to say. So instead of these boxes of sneakers showing up at retail,
You know it'd be tough if they're the ones who created the legit app. So when you scan your shoe, all type of ways, it shows like if it's legit or not. So let's say they created that app. So when somebody sell those shoes to somebody else and they start scanning them inside the app, the little tag on the shoe got a certain barcode on it. And they see that barcode. Hey, it's just crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
retailers like
I'm not gonna
Champs,
sit here and
Foot
explain the
Locker,
whole
maybe
thing.
a Nike
Process
store.
through my
These
head.
boxes of hundreds of pairs of Jordans would go into an undisclosed location, and they would essentially just be dropped off by UPS. So after these shoes were being unpacked, they were being sold at sneaker conventions, sneaker stores, and other sneaker websites. And some of these pairs were just placed into a warehouse or the backs of stores to be sold in eventually. And like I said previously,
And Cool Kicks warehouse is huge. I'm not even gonna lie. Cool Kicks got a big warehouse. Like no joke. shit is
if
crazy.
you have some of these shoes that don't release for 4 months and you have like 100 or 200 pairs, that looks really suspicious. So in some cases, they would just keep these shoes and
And they probably went wrong when they started live streaming. When Cool Kicks started live streaming, trying to get more money from the viewers and whatnot, and then going on What's Not and Twitch and all that, and you seeing unreleased shoes in their hand, they cooked themselves.
until
For
like
sure.
a week or two after they released and they were hot and everybody wanted them, and then they'd begin like flipping them. So I'm assuming that's where some of these shoes would end up in like warehouses and stuff. But investigators started looking into resale businesses, and the further they followed these shipments, the more these certain names kept popping up. One of them being Chicago Emporium, which is a large Chicago resale business. Another one being Whorehead Investments. And then there was one name that stood out above all the others, and that name was
Cool Kicks.
And if you've been around sneaker culture for like the past decade, you know who Cool Kicks is. Cool Kicks wasn't a small reseller operating out of like a storage unit. It was one of the biggest sneaker stores in America. NBA players, rappers, celebrities, all these people bought shoes from there in Los Angeles. And their videos reached millions of people on the daily. And for a lot of sneakerheads, Cool Kicks represented the top of the resale world. They were definitely one of the most popular sneaker resale stores and YouTube channels in this entire business. So a lot of people think that it's just a deal that owns it, the guy that's mainly on the face of the channel. But there's another man named Barakat Abraham, and he also goes by BK. But in these legal documents, he is accused of playing a role in the early stages of this conspiracy. The The prosecutors allege that between July 2021 and May 2022, Roy Harvey, which is the mastermind of this, he received 149 shipping labels that were associated with the Cool Kick store. And that allegation matters because those labels were allegedly used before Harvey began creating labels through his own company, which was RHJ Global, which in other words, prosecutors believe that this whole scheme was evolving over time. It didn't begin as like this huge, massive like operation. It started with just like a few people. And when the money entered the picture, things get more serious. But according to the indictment, between April and November 2023, Cool Kicks allegedly sent approximately $127,000 to a man named Keith Cannon, who was also mentioned in these documents for this whole scheme. On top of that, they had allegedly sent another $88,275 to Roy Harvey Jr., who was the mastermind. But before we jump to conclusions, those numbers don't prove any guilt. Some people say that Cool Kicks was just buying shoes from this person and they didn't know that they were stolen from Nike. And I'll leave it up to you guys in your own research to figure that out. But when
Bro, that's cap. There's no way you going to a truck full of shoes. And I can understand if every shoe is different, but if you got multiple of the same shoe, come on now. You know what's going on, man. You know exactly what's going on. Like if every shoe was different and they sold it to him, he could use that as an excuse. But once they sell you the like multiple shoe, one multiple shoe, hella times, bro, it's you know what's going. You know what he's doing. You know what's going on. You know how he moving. So don't do that. Don't do that.
Prove any guilt. Some people say that Cool Kicks was just buying shoes from this person and they didn't know that they were stolen from Nike.
Don't do that.
And I'll leave it up to you guys in your own research to figure that out. But when reading the legal documents, there was some more evidence that kind of stood out. In September 2022, Roy Harvey allegedly asked the co-owner of Cool Kicks to create fake invoices. And the prosecutors alleged that these invoices would make it appear that these shipments were legitimate. And this would allow these packages that may have gotten held up in UPS to then be released. So on the off chance, if these sneakers are being transported from the Nike facility to these undisclosed locations, if or when these packages got held up, you would have to provide something that says like you bought these shoes before they would be released. And that's where these fake invoices would come about. Basically saying like, hey, I paid Roy Lee, this guy, X amount of money, like he's delivering these shoes to me because I bought them. But in reality, they were all coming from the Nike warehouse illegally and stolen. But this is just a conspiracy. This is not proven fact. I'm just simply telling the story how it is. Also, according to the indictment, Chicago Emporium was allegedly purchasing large quantities of shoes connected to this operation as well. Federal prosecutors allege that Joel DeLuna, I think is the owner of Chicago Emporium, he negotiated with Harvey to receive unreleased Nike products. Meanwhile, another Los Angeles retailer, Whorehead Investments, he allegedly also sent nearly $700,000 in wire transfers.
Bro, on paper, bro, this is a lot of money, man. This is a lot of money. That's over $1 million right there alone. Like, that's over $1 million. Oh, StockX was what I'm looking for. StockX and gold. That's crazy, bro. Purchasing large quantities from Harvey and Cannon between Cannon 49,000. Cool Kicks paid Harvey and Cannon 215,000. Hardhead Investment transferred 696,000 to Cannon. Cannon was eating, bro. Whoever Cannon is, he just eating. Not gonna lie.
Connecting to this government's investigation. So everybody that I just named were resellers that were allegedly sending money to Roy Harvey to get these shoes so that they could flip them themselves or sell them in their store. And piece by piece, shipment by shipment, and payment by payment, what first looked like a warehouse theft was beginning to look like something that was much, much larger. The prosecutors believed that they had just uncovered an alleged distribution network stretching from the floors of Nike's warehouse in Memphis Memphis, all the way to some of the biggest sneaker resale businesses in the world. But if these investigators spent years following these shipments and following the labels and following the money, what finally caused this whole operation to fall apart? Well, for years, according to the federal investigations, the operation kept working. Shipments continued to leave Memphis, labels continued to change destinations, and businesses continued buying inventory. And remember, all of this was done in secrecy. They were spending a while trying to figure this out and piece this together before they began just raiding and arresting everybody. But from the outside, nothing looked different. Nike was still shipping shoes, UPS was still delivering them, and the resale market was still growing. And when it comes to a resale store, when customers walk in and buy a pair of shoes, they don't know where they came from before the store. Like I said, these are resale stores. They buy them from people and resell them because they're hype shoes. So the customer has no idea of knowing where these were previously before the resale store. And investigators were quietly piecing together things that didn't seem related at first. A shipping label here, a payment there, phone records, wire transfers, delivery addresses. On their own, none of those told the full story. But together, the prosecutors were able to form like a pattern. And then one moment changed everything.
All right.
In
So what are we
January
waiting
of
for?
2024, Roy Harvey was arrested in Los Angeles. And this was when the popular sneaker resale warehouse and platform Project Blitz got raided. And for those who don't know, Project Blitz, they're huge. They have a YouTube channel and they've even been on like Pawn Stars. They make videos pretty much showing off some of the rarest sneakers that you can possibly buy in the world. But supposedly, after they gathered this evidence, they arrested him with 28 cartons
Now look at this, bro. Right? If you're a reseller, be a reseller. This is just like a full-blown Nike store at this point. All the same shoes, different sizes. That's not reselling, bro. Same shoes, different sizes. You're just a retail store at that point. Like you're not reselling. You're a retailer. You feel me? Same shoes, different sizes.
of stolen Nike products that were
Same
connected to
shoes,
this whole
different sizes,
conspiracy.
all of
And
those
that
right
is
there.
why Project Blitz got raided, because somehow, some way, he was delivering shoes to Project Blitz. But the Project Blitz story is an entire video on its own, and all the controversy that comes with that.
I'm here
But
for cool
this
kids.
was one of the first moments that investigators could say that they could physically connect redirected shipments to somebody in this operation, and that was Roy Harvey. But this arrest didn't stop the investigation. They went through Harvey's phone, his financial records, and they found connections that led to new leads. Investigators weren't just looking backwards anymore,
Damn.
they were starting to connect the pieces on this whole map. After the mastermind of this whole thing got put away in jail, now the business is still going. That means somebody's still doing this and people are still buying this from Nike. And that's when they realized this whole operation wasn't just centered around one person. It was an entire team. And it was 12 people to be exact. And so the investigators, they kept going. They kept reviewing financial records, they kept interviewing witnesses, and the case kept expanding. And this was when everybody started to get raided. Like I said before, the Project Blitz store got raided, and then the Cool Kick store.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. They got too money hungry. After a mill for me, even after a mill like 500K, I would have called it quits, man. I would have got up out of there. I ain't gonna lie. I would have stopped doing it. After a certain amount, I would just stop. Like you can't force me to keep going. I would have quit and everything. I would have quit Nike and everything. After 500K, it was over with. But for you to go and still 12, no, I think said over 5 million. Over $5 million worth of shoes. And think you'll never get caught? Bruh. Come on now. Be for real. If you're gonna be anything, be for real. Over 5 million.
Also got raided while on live stream. This became like a huge viral moment. Like they were selling shoes on a live, the police busted in, and then there's all these clips of them getting arrested. Everybody thought this was because they were selling counterfeit shoes, and that's not at all the case. As well as there was clips on
And I did see that. Somebody did. Yeah, I've seen that. They said they were selling fake shoes, which I believe, because I would have never thought they were stealing the shoes. But hey, to each his own, man. Tomato,
line
tomato.
that showed a house that got raided that was completely full from like top to bottom with Nike shoes. And on top of all this,
That's
the
insane.
Chicago warehouse that was Chicago Emporium also got raided. When all of this was happening, nobody really knew why. Like I said, everybody speculated counterfeit shoes, and everybody was slandering Cool Kicks, saying they sold like fake shoes, and that's not
I've seen
true.
that.
As well as Project Blitz, they got bashed everywhere for this, but in reality, they probably just bought a few pairs of shoes that were stolen that they didn't know about. But regardless, all these business reputations got cooked. But in July of this year, a federal grand jury returned a sweeping indictment charging 12 people with offenses including conspiracy, interstate transportation of stolen property, and wire fraud. And of these 12 names that were in this were Roy Harvey Jr., BK from Cool Kicks, the Chicago Emporium guy, Perkins. You guys can look at the list yourself. But for the sneaker community, this was the first time that these allegations were made public. And suddenly, all those raids, all those rumors, and all those unanswered questions, they finally had context just this month. But this story isn't just about Cool Kicks or one warehouse. It's about something much bigger. It's about how an industry built on hype and scarcity created one of the most perfect environments for an operation like this to exist for years. But like I said, everything in this video is just alleged,
I mean,
and everybody in this case
What did Nike expect though? They did put the warehouse in Memphis. Sound like they problem, right? They already know how Memphis people get down. Pooh Shiesty said it multiple times. He a slimy is out of the slimiest. You feel me? And he from Memphis. You put the warehouse in Memphis. It's only Nike fault.
is innocent until proven guilty. I'm simply just stating what was in these documents. I'll pop it up on the screen right here. Cool Kicks actually made a statement about this.
Was indicted in Tennessee and Memphis, Tennessee. And y'all can read this shit yourself. I ain't gonna lie, bro. You know what it sound like? What's that? What's that company? They sell the Legos bricks by something. It sounded the same statement they gave out. Same exact statement. But they knew they were stolen. He knew they were stolen. The other owner at Cool Kicks knew they were stolen. They all knew where the shoes was coming from. Ain't no way you getting that many shoes in and it's just thinking that, oh, business is good. No, you know where y'all all know where the shoes coming from. Y'all know it's something fishy. So he might be terminated on according to social media or according to this paper right here or this image. But in the back end, you know they still tapping them in. Yeah.
And their co-owner and what's going on with them. I'll let you guys read that on your own. But in my opinion, the most surprising part about all this isn't the whole like illegal scheme. It's about what happens to the sneakers. You see, these $2 million worth of shoes, thousands of pairs that were stolen, where did they go? Well, the answer is they went into the resale market. These are authentic Nike shoes, and they were sold to customers that had no idea where they came from. You see, like a stolen car, for example. A car has like a VIN number on it, and so if you get caught with the car, you get arrested, it's whatever. With sneakers, there is almost no way to identify the history or where the shoes came from, other than just like a receipt or like a word of mouth type of thing.
So the shoes they found inside of the places, did it go back after the investigation over with? I do Cool Kick. Now they'll probably keep them, right? So they still will be up because they don't know which ones are stolen and which ones are not stolen, even if they looked in it. Unless they wrote all I don't know, because they sell too many shoes, Steven. Write every ID number down for the shoe, so that wouldn't even work. I don't know. I wonder what happens with the shoes.
But platforms like StockX, GOAT, eBay, and certain resale stores were all selling shoes that were stolen from Nike and they didn't know it, as well as all the stores that were not involved in this scheme that bought the shoes just because they wanted to flip them. Like, for example, if I had 30 pairs of these shoes that were stolen from Nike and I sold them to somebody else and they sold them to somebody else, and like, you get what I'm saying? It's hard to track all these down. So there was plenty of people in this whole scheme that were selling shoes that were stolen that they didn't even know it. And that's what makes this case so much different. It wasn't counterfeit fake shoes. It was real authentic Nike products that were just being circulated everywhere in the United States. And the sneaker community spent months trying to figure out why all these people got raided, and it seems like now we finally have some answers. And that's for you to decide. Once again, I'm just telling the story. I'm not taking sides with anybody. But the answer to this entire mystery was sitting on the box the entire time from the very beginning, and it was just a shipping label. And also one of the most elaborate schemes I think I've ever heard in sneaker history. That pretty much wraps up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This one took a lot of research and a lot of putting this stuff together. To be honest with you, I've been putting this video together for like, I would say like a month now. Like before all of this news broke public, like I knew some things and I did my own research and stuff like that. And I've been working on kind of piecing this all together for a very long time. And some of the videos on my channel that are like the most high performing videos are the videos I've made on like Cool Kicks and this whole like sneaker scandal thing to begin with. So I felt like it's only right. And once again, I just want to clarify.
They knew what was going on, bro. You can't even deny not knowing. Cause you don't go from being like a small business to having a multi-million-dollar business just based off of shoes, though. Unless you're like really plugged in with Nike for real. I mean, Neil's definitely plugged in with Nike in the worst ways.
Clarify this for like the 100th time. Like, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just telling the story. I'm not siding with anybody, and I'm not saying anybody is guilty. That is for the courts to decide and you guys to make up on your own whether you agree with this or you don't, or
that's cap. He sided. He called somebody guilty. He accused.
Who you side with, that's completely up to you. I am just trying to tell the story. Everything in this is alleged. And I also believe that everybody's innocent until proven guilty. But this is one of the most insane stories I've ever heard. And it's...
I think he said he did all the research himself. He did all the research. He read everything out. He did everything. So with that being said, he accused, he pointed fingers, he said names, he made the research up. Well, he gathered the research and decided to put a YouTube video out on that research to thousands of people. So he definitely not like innocent to his, how do I put it? I'm trying to think of ways to put it while I'm talking. I don't know, but he's definitely not innocent to what he's doing. You feel me? Because he's in the wrong too. But it is, man. Hey, if them niggas stole them shoes. And I'm gonna call a spade a spade. They knew what was going on. They knew it. That's like me running a photography business, right? And a dude got a van full of lights. Kit lights, all type of lights, RGB lights, straight white lights, straight red lights, like, and I just go over there like, damn, bro, you got a lot of lights. Where you got these from? Man, I'm plugged in. I buy lights from him. Police come to my house to get the lights. I knew they were stolen when I brought them. Did I care? No. Why did I care? Because it's going to make me money. They don't care as long as it makes them money. That's crazy work. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I wouldn't have cared either, but don't act like you didn't know what you was doing. You knew what you was doing. But Cool Kids is kind of big now, so they want the best PR they got. They need it. You feel me? So I understand why they put that letter out and said they let go of whatever that nigga name was, because I can't even say it. But that's, I mean, it's what it is. Y'all do me a favor, man. Y'all like, comment, subscribe, bro. Just sharing, we out.